Hi everyone, my name is Thanksho Kabilu. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking the play button. I am excited for the part 2 of Hanna Bible study. So in part 1 we looked at Hanna. We learned surrender from Hanna, how surrender looked like. So for part 2 I want us to look at Hanna's testimony, which is Samuel. I want us to study the life of Samuel and just learn what God can do when you as a woman surrender. I know that Eli the priest did some investment in Samuel's life. He mentored him, but I believe that Hanna is the one who started this whole thing of surrendering, this whole thing of the prayers that she made in order to birth Samuel. So I want us to look at this study in that perspective of Hannah's testimony. Yes, so in my church there is this mother that I love asking advice from her, the advice of parenting. She is a woman who has 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls, and the reason I love asking advice from her is because of her testimony. Her children are her testimony. Her children love the Lord. Her children are well behaved. Those that are still in school, they are doing well in school. Her firstborn is actually working. She's doing well in her career. And I love asking advice from her, parenting advice from her, because of her testimony, because of how her children turned out to be. So that's the reason that I want us to learn and study the life of Samuel. He was this amazing prophet of God. And I believe it's because of Hanna. Hanna is the one who started this whole thing. Yes. So I'm hoping that the woman watching this video, you will learn and see what prayer can do in your life. I'm hoping that you will learn and see the results, the fruit of surrender. The possibilities of surrender. In part 1 I said that Hanna was married to a godly man. Elkanah was a man of God. But it is so important to understand that Elkanah, even though he was a man of God, he did not make the prayers. Hanna is the one who made the prayers. Even though Elkanah is the one who took his family to the house of the Lord for worship and for the sacrifices, it is Hanna who took this initiative of surrender, of pouring out her soul unto the Lord, of prayers. So it's so important to understand as a woman that your prayers can make a difference. And we are living in a time whereby there is no time for scrolling. There is no time for scrolling through social media the whole day. There is no time for changing channel after channel in your television, and eating content that don't profit. There is no time for that. I believe that God is calling a woman to be intimate with him. God is calling a woman to make prayers, to trust God with the impossible. So I will start this study by reading 1 Samuel chapter 3 verse 19 to 21 in NIV. The Lord was with Samuel as he grew up, and he let none of Samuel's words fall to the ground. Verse 20, and all Israel from Dan to Beersheba recognized that Samuel was attested as a prophet of the Lord. Verse 21, the Lord continued to appear at Shiloh, and there he revealed himself to Samuel through his word. So the first thing that I want us to learn from this verses is that the Lord was with Samuel. The Lord was with Samuel. And this is very important, because there is this lie that the Lord is with all people. The Lord is with all people. And the thing is that the truth is that the Lord loves all people, but he's not with everyone. If you are out there doing wicked things, if you are out there just doing things that are not aligned to God and his will, the Lord will not be with you. The Lord will not be with you. The Lord is not with witches. The Lord is not with people who are practicing things in the kingdom of darkness. So it is so important to understand here that the Lord was with Samuel. And and another thing that I want us to pay attention to is that Samuel as a prophet, at some point, the children of the Israelites asked for a king, and God instructed him to anoint Saul as a king. And in the beginning, the Lord was with Saul. Saul sinned. Saul was rebellious. And at some point, God left him. God left him. So, it's possible for God to be with you in the beginning when you start whatever you are doing, whatever God has called you to do. And at some point, it's possible for God to reject you. So this lie that the Lord is with everyone, everything is permissible to the Lord, whether it's good or it's bad, whether it's righteous or it's wicked, everything is permissible to the Lord. That is a lie. That is a lie. And not to say that, if you are out there and you are disobedient, not to say that there is no hope for you. There is hope for you. The mercy of God is available. Actually, what I've learned with God is that He will make an effort to try to reach to you. He will make an effort to try to reach to the unbeliever. The mercy of God is there for that, to reach out to the lost, to reach out to the souls. And the grace of God is also available to those that are saying, you know what, I'm a believer, but I'm not living according to the standard of the kingdom of God. I'm not obedient, I'm struggling, I'm having habits that I'm struggling with. I'm not honoring God with my life. The grace of God is available for you. Yeah, the grace of God is there to enable it, to help you. Yeah, the grace of God, it's there for that. It's there for you. So there is hope for you. There is hope for you. Yeah. So the Lord was with Samuel. That's the first thing. And then the second thing that I want us to look at, which is still in verse 19, is that none of his words fell to the ground. That's the second thing that I want us to learn. None of Prophet Samuel's words fell to the ground. In NLT, it reads as follows. As Samuel grew up, the Lord was with him, and everything Samuel said proved to be reliable. What does it mean? It means that Samuel never lied. Everything that he said happened. Everything that he said, this is what the Lord said. It happened. Yeah, so it's very important to learn that Samuel, in everything that he said, it was reliable. Yeah. And then the third thing that I want us to learn from Prophet Samuel, which is the testimony of Hanna, is that, and it's in verse 20, people recognize that he was attested as a prophet of the Lord. The very interesting thing is that when you are anointed, when you are gifted, people can see. People can see. When God has called you, people can see. And people recognize that from Samuel, that he was attested as a prophet of the Lord. Yeah. And then the fourth thing that I want us to learn from the life of Prophet Samuel is that the Lord continued to appear at Shiloh. The Lord continued to appear at Shiloh. And this is in verse 21. The Lord continued to appear in Shiloh. It is one thing to have a once-off visitation from God, once-off encounter from the Lord, and my pastor teaches a lot about this in the church that I attend. It is one thing to have once-off revelation from the Lord. But it's another thing when the revelation is continuing. It's another thing when the encounter is continuing. It's another thing when that visitation is continuing. And that was the situation with Samuel, that, God kept showing up. God kept showing up. And this is so important because in verse 1 of 1 Samuel chapter 3, the Bible tells us that in those days, the word of the law was rare, and there were not many visions. Yeah, there were not many visions. That is the situation in that time. But with Samuel, the situation changed. The Lord continued to appear at Shiloh. Yeah. Yes. And then for the fifth point, for point number 5 and point number 6 and number 7, I will be reading, for point number 5, I will be reading First Samuel chapter 7 verse 9. Then Samuel took a suckling lamb and sacrificed it as a whole burnt offering to the Lord. He cried out to the Lord on Israel's behalf, and the Lord answered him. So my fifth point is that when Samuel cried to the Lord on Israel's behalf, the Lord answered him. The Lord answered him. Yeah. So that's very important. That's very important that God answered Samuel's prayer. And another thing, I wanted us to look at the study with this perspective, that this is Hannah's testimony. This is what happened to Hanna. This is what happened when after Hanna surrendered Samuel to the Lord. Yeah, whenever Samuel cried to the Lord on Israel's behalf, the Lord answered him. Yeah, and then for our last 2 points, I will be reading from 1 Samuel chapter 7, verse 12 to 14. And then Samuel took a stone and set it up between Mizpah and Shen. He named it Ebenezer, saying, "Thus far the Lord has helped us." And then verse 13, so the Philistines were subdued, and they stopped invading Israel's territory. Throughout Samuel's lifetime, the hand of the Lord was against the Philistines. Verse 14, the towns from Ekron to Gath and the Philistines had captured from Israel were restored to Israel, and Israel delivered the neighboring territory from the hands of the Philistines, and there was peace between Israel and the Amorites. Yeah. So point number 6 that I have here is that throughout Samuel's lifetime, the hand of the Lord was against the Philistines. So the Philistines were the enemy of the Israel, and throughout Samuel's lifetime, the hand of the Lord was against the enemy. Yeah. So meaning Israel had victory over their enemy, and that happened as long as Samuel lived. Yeah, this is big. This is big. It teaches us that through the leadership of Samuel, the enemy was defeated. Through the leadership of Samuel, there was peace in the land. Through the leadership of Samuel, there was protection. The nation was protected throughout the lifetime of Samuel. Yeah, under the leadership of Samuel, the nation was victorious. This is so important, and what we can learn from here is that Hannah's prayers, Hannah's surrender did not only benefit her, but it benefited the nation of Israel. Yeah, Hannah's prayers, Hannah's surrender, Hannah's vow, the vow that he made to the Lord, did not only benefit her as a woman, did not only answer her prayers as a woman, but that prayer that she made, that surrender that she made, protected the nation of Israel from the enemy. It was a covering for the nation of the Israel. The nation of Israel was victorious because of Samuel. Yeah, so this is so important. And the last point that I have here is that Israel's territory was restored. And we see that in verse 14, that Israel's territory was restored. Yeah, there was peace, the land was restored. Yeah, we see that with Samuel's leadership, there was a restoration of that which the enemy has stolen from Israelites. Yeah, so and it's so important to understand as a woman that this prayer, this surrender of Hanna did not only restore her as a woman, did not only restore her womb, but it restored the nation. It restored a nation. And this is a good example, this is a good lesson and a good study of the testimony of surrender. The testimony of surrender. In summary, we learned that through Hannah's surrender, through Hannah's prayers, number one, the Lord was with Samuel. Number two, none of Samuel's words fell to the ground. Number three, people recognized that he was attested as a prophet of the Lord. Number four, the Lord continued to appear at Shiloh. Yeah, and Shiloh, that was the place where Samuel was. That was the house of the Lord. Yeah. Number five, the Lord answered Samuel's prayer. Number six, throughout Samuel's lifetime, the enemy of Israel was defeated. The Philistines were defeated. Number seven, Israel's territory was restored. Yeah. So I hope that this lesson, this teaching did add value to your life, and I hope that as a woman you will be encouraged to pray. As a woman you will be encouraged to surrender. As a woman you will be intentional about your relationship with God. You will be intentional about your relationship with the Lord. You will be diligent with the word, with studying your word of the word of God. Thank you so much for watching this video. Until I see you again next time. Goodbye for now.